My name is Catherine O'Neill, and I'm the CEO for YWCA Edmonton. And I joined YWCA Edmonton on March 16th, 2020. So that was the first day of basically the pandemic in Canada. So YWCA Edmonton, we've been in our community since 1907. So we have seen many crises like these before. We've been around since World War I, World War II, Great Depression, lots of ups and downs in this province, and now we're navigating through COVID-19. And what our organization does, we have a North Star, and it's we believe deeply in gender equity in our community. So we have many programs and services that help reach that goal. On a hardware side, we knew that the equipment that we had in our office was not a modern office. And because of the fact that we have, staff all over our city because of COVID and with the lockdown and many people working from home, we needed to make sure that we had the right hardware, but also the right software. And that we had systems in place that could just pull everything together and help our staff do their jobs in a way that's leading edge. So Kieran has just been an incredible partner. That's how I would describe them. We came to them letting them know what our history has been, particularly with IT. We drafted a short-term plan and a long-term plan, and I feel that anytime we have a challenge or there's a roadblock, they're always there to help us and to kind of take it back and help us figure out, okay, what is the best strategy moving forward. They're also teachers, they're educators. I think our staff really needed to understand how to use the technology that we brought or the hardware. And, we've had lunch and learns and things like that. So they've always just been really there to not only teach, but also find solutions to challenges we might have. And, and in this online Zoom, Microsoft Team world that we are now living in, there's a lot of change happening, and it's really overwhelming for staff. So to be able to have a tech partner that absolutely understands that, but then also brings these really incredible solutions to the table, I just feel really blessed. And we've really been excited about this partnership, and I'm really looking forward to the future working with Kieran. But they've been able to bring together all of the pieces, but in a way that makes sense to our teams, because we were starting out from a staff that might not always want the change or nervous about the change or not understanding what benefits that we could have from the change. So having them at the table to help guide all of our staff has been really incredible. And there's lots of people who are really excited by change, and that's great. You have that on every team, but you always have folks that might not understand. And we've been able to bring everyone along. And I really do attribute that to Kieran being so patient, to being so thoughtful in how they approach us as a client, and always being there with solutions. Data is really important, and definitely privacy, because we have clients that definitely privacy is really essential when it counseling services clients or disability services clients. So that's always in every conversation that we do have with Kieran. They're always talking about cybersecurity, things like that. What is our long-term strategies? Making sure that we're thinking about those big picture things that are happening in the world. We don't feel like we're being told after the fact. We feel like that we're being brought in on the overall strategy. And again, those are the kind of things that we see this as a really just a partnership, because we're not just being treated like, oh, we'll tell you when you need to know. We're there at the table understanding that what's happening in the world, what might need to be done. And again, data, privacy, all of those things are really essential, that we are always thinking ahead, because we know that this is a field where things change quite quickly. And even though we're not for profit, and often not for profit is seen as antiquated or a little bit behind the curve, I don't feel like that when we have someone like Kieran, who's our partner in this overall IT journey. They really drilled down a lot on what the needs were. So they came in and did a lot of research. They asked a lot of questions, and then we were able to build out that short and long-term plan. So I think that was really essential to starting this off on the right foot. They are also always open to feedback. When we have a question, our director of finance and operations will be on the phone, or I can be on the phone, and they welcome questions all the time. So you feel like it is a two-way street, and that you can, if there are questions that come and arise, they're more than welcome, and that people will walk you through and not talk over you, because I'm not a tech person at all, and I feel that the language that we speak is I understand what's happening, and that's often not always what the kind of service you can sometimes get with a tech IT company. So that's really helpful. And I think it goes back to that education piece. They are teachers and always open to feedback and honest feedback about how things are going. They speak in plain language, even though they have a high level of expertise in this area. And again, as a client, that's just so welcoming, because you really do feel that you understand what's happening, what you need to do as a client to be a good client, because we know that it's a two-way street and there's lots of things that we need to do on our end. And I think overall, particularly with our frontline staff, they feel that this is a great partnership, because again, when we have questions about new software or new changes, they're always open to come in and do a lunch and learn or help educate folks on how to best utilize this technology. Because if you don't use the technology, it's not worth anything. And if people don't understand what it's just a waste of money. And again, we want to make sure that all of our dollars go a long way, and every investment we make on IT is used as well as we can. Just positive. It's been a very positive experience, and there's not those beating your head on a table moments because often you can get frustrated with technology. We really do feel, again, that, like I said, if questions arise, that we can go and they're very prompt, they're very thorough. They're always giving us research back on their response times. We don't have to go hunting for that information. They're very, very proactive in getting us that information, and also helping us analyze how things are going, where we can help speed up response times, how they can help speed up response times as well. And there always are going to be hiccups along the way. There have been, but they've always been approached from a very professional, very open and thoughtful way, and we've always been able to get over any hurdle that we've reached along the way. I think moving into this new hybrid world, we did understand that we needed to invest more in this side of our operations, because before we had that 9-to-5 office, very paper heavy. We have goals to go paperless by 2023 within the entire organization. And so to be able to reach those goals, we had to have a partnership like this to help us walk through those, again, short-term and long-term goals to get there. And so we just got through a process of establishing a digital payroll system called Ceridian. Anytime we have a question about these new technology solutions, they help us walk us through what is the best way to do it, the rollout, how things are working. We also just moved our office, our physical office. They've been able to help with that, all of those things that go along with moving a physical office. We were able to dismantle our server, which was so antiquated and really a liability for the organization. So again, there's big things, but then there's been these small things along the way. And again, we can't thank them enough for just having like I said, that patience to help us come from, we had a long way to go. And I feel like even in that short time we've been in this partnership, we've come a long way. And I'm really excited about that long term. Where are we going to be? Because as a not-for-profit, I'd like to lead our sector in being very, very savvy when it comes to your IT, your hardware, and your software, to make sure that we are leading edge and that we're making the right investments, and that when we look back, they all were part of a very strategic, well thought through plan.
We did Microsoft Office 365.
Well, yeah, and that's how basic it was. We did Microsoft Office 365. We were, oh my gosh, we started on 07. And so there was just a lot of security issues around that. There was just a lot of we've come a long way, and we weren't really getting bang for our buck for what, our staff were really working on systems, equipment, and software that just has stuck in another decade, literally stuck in another decade. So just those baby steps and being able to build up, and that goal to go paperless is really aggressive. 2023 is soon, and we do a lot of, particularly in one of our departments, disability services, we have a lot of paper, but by setting that, and Kieran understanding that we need to bring in more software solutions to help us get there, it's build that building block and that long term, let's keep building on what we're doing. And on that change management, because again, we came from a past where folks saw technology as scary sometimes, or not quite sure why it's useful. And again, I think Kieran's just done a beautiful job on being able to show that bigger picture, and also bring along the strategies to help us implement them and make sure people are using them. And by all accounts, folks are really excited. We are going to keep a hybrid office even post-pandemic because it's really shown, it's been really, from a gender equity lens, it's really great. A lot of particularly our female employees are excited. It just frees up their day quite a bit. But you have to have the right technology to do that. And that's why investments like these are just so important in a partnership like this. We could not do this alone. We could not do this by ourselves. Any business or government needs to really think ahead. Like this has been, I think COVID has been the silver lining of COVID. It's forced everyone to rethink everything they do, including the technology that they use. So they're really, when they come with solutions, they're also always keeping in mind that we're a not-for-profit client. They're a great corporate citizen. They have a very thoughtful long-term plan of how we can get there. And I really, again, really appreciate that as the leader of the YWCA, because I feel like, again, it's a true partnership and that they see us as a long-term partner throughout this. You know, it was dramatic. You know, as soon as March 16th rolled around, we shut down our office. We moved 100% to remote counseling. Before that, it was 100% in person. So we have, you know, a combination of telehealth, phone, or internet counseling. That was a huge overnight change. And we moved to Kieran about halfway, I think, through the pandemic. And we knew, as we were trying to establish a lot of these online services, we didn't have the right IT support that was going to be able to help us succeed when we were doing a lot of these new, like, very dramatic changes within our services and operations. So it was just a light bulb moment that we needed to, again, invest more in this area and also find that partner that understood that we were starting from not a great place, that we had underinvested for many years, and now we were having to play catch up, not only playing catch up, but during a pandemic. Yeah. So they have been, like I said, when we arrived, did that thorough look at what we needed, came up with a good plan, and are always tweaking and coming back and reassessing, like, is this working? Is this working? So we have the monthly check-ins as far as we have a report that's delivered to us about, we can see how we're doing. We are, you know, we can set up phone calls if we want. We have just incredible customer service when things aren't going well. And when there's big projects too, there's that project manager that we can always go to for just pressing questions. So there's just a very clear established line of communication. And again, it goes back to that great positive communication where there's a project set up, that's the person we're dealing with, and it's easy, and it's not always, it can be frustrating at points, because when you need an email, you need an email, but we know that we're going to get a solution pretty quickly and that somebody's going to be on it. Incredible, again, and it speaks to, and we've had other providers in the past, and there's some good and bad to all of them, but I think what sets Kieran apart is its promptness, its customer service, the fact that we know a lot of the folks, you get used to who you're talking with, so there's the same folks that you're talking with, so that they'll have okay, yeah, you had that problem 3 months ago. There's a relationship that's built with these folks, and we know them by name, many of them. So it just feels good because we feel that they know we're not just another name as a client, that people know who we are. They understand the business we're doing. They understand if we're particularly from, for example, if one of our counselors gets a hold of them and she's going into a session, a counseling session, they'll know there's urgency there. They know what we do. They know the business that we do, and that the fact that we're helping very vulnerable clients. So again, it's just feeling like we're not just a number. They really treat us with so much professionalism. And again, goes back to that partner piece, that they have set out very clear expectations of what they want to, the benchmarks they want to hit. And they're always, you know, checking in with us to see, okay, are you happy? And if you're not happy, how do we get there? The more we're talking about, Jamie's listening to me, they're really good. They're really good. Because we've had and I'm new to the Y, so is Jamie, but I know that the constant criticism going into this change was that we hadn't been able to find an IT provider that just could fit, it was always a problem. Like there was always issues. And this is not where we are right now. This is one of those things. This is a part, like one of our partners that we work with, where we feel like there's just a really healthy, productive, professional relationship. And that's really, particularly during COVID, you couldn't ask for anything more.